Hi, I'm Merrick D'Amato,
And I'm ClassixGamer.
and welcome back to Narwhal and Classix Post-Play Podcast. Been a hot minute since we've had one of these.
Oh, yes, indeed.
And may I just say, Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
As just like last year, we're going to try to be making this a regular thing. We got 4 of these for you this year, as per usual, so look forward to those. In case you've never watched this podcast before, this podcast airing exclusively on Classix channel, by the way. This is where we look at a game we've both played separately. Obviously, we're just coming off the back of our massive Broken Sword Let's Play. Those games that we've done together do not count. We cannot do a podcast on those. You already know our thoughts.
Yeah, we
shared thoughts on those.
We give our overall thoughts at the end of them, and I don't think our opinions have changed. Obviously, we have got 6 coming out probably next year now, but last month, if I am right in thinking, would have been when Reforged came out. So more than likely, I would already have played it on stream with Phoenix. And I'm doing that because my name's in the credits. Yay!
But obviously expect in a while, expect that to be coming out on my channel too, in a bit.
Cool.
Reforged.
Yep, Broken Sword, the Shadow of the Templars, Reforged.
Oh no, I completely misunderstood. I thought you meant the 6th one. My bad.
No,
Never mind.
No, yeah, it's redrawn art. The museum, when you do the break-in, when Nico comes in and steals the tripod, that's been redone. That looks, I saw a screenshot. It looks really good. But because I'm a backer and I backed them on Kickstarter, I get my name in the credits.
Now, before we get into what we're actually talking about today, that's something I need to complain about the director's cut of Shadow of the Templar. You added all these bits where you get to play as Nico. Cool. None of the heist is playable.
Actually,
okay.
You make a good point. Like when she goes and gets the cat outfit, that would have been really cool, actually.
Like doing the because never mind. It's dumb. It's dumb that we don't get to do that. It would be an easy thing to add, but whatever.
Well,
anyway,
it's not something they've already thought of. Maybe I think they just wanted to show extra bits because the bits that you play as Nico are explaining
very fun.
They are fun, but explaining her dad's role in Kushan and the Ice Queen and why he's involved, and the fact that he actually is involved in the Templars a little bit to an extent. And
anyway,
yeah.
We are since this is Halloween episodes, we're looking at horror games we've done. Not necessarily that Classix has done as Halloween specials, but that I have done as Halloween specials. And the first one we're looking at is, even though it feels very similar to one we talked about last year, we're doing The Walking Dead. And you're like, ooh, the Telltale, that amazing return of the adventure game, some of the greatest storytelling in modern games, The Walking Dead game from Telltale. No, we're not doing that one.
No,
we're doing the bad one. We're doing Survival Instinct.
Yes, we are. I mean, it could be worse. We could be doing Destinies. So.
Oh God. You played that on purpose.
I know.
Did you have more than one? Did you have more than the one episode?
Oh yeah, I've recorded quite a few.
Oh, okay. Because I remember the one came out, and then no others came out. I was like, well, there you are.
No, I'm doing it on what I call my new series called Seasons. So my plan, even though the plan hasn't actually gone through, was to do one a week of the Sons of the Forest, and then because obviously I did my mini series, people really like that. I thought, great. They are quite long videos. I haven't got around to editing them yet. I've been doing other editing and also doing other LPs. So it's got quite a lot of backlog to do. I have got through some of Call of Duty, which everyone knows about. That will be taking a short break, obviously, during this month of October. But I have played a little bit of Destiny's. I actually commented when I first played that game that the character models looked all right, and then I saw a review which said they looked awful. I was like, actually, they do look awful. But then when I saw
Well,
Glenn's,
here's the thing. They look all right for a game from 2010. It came out in 2024.
true. I mean,
That's the...
Glenn's character model does look pretty okay. My playthrough so far has gone where um, Merle, who you leave on the roof, obviously in the show, he's left on the roof. He isn't left on the roof. Is it T-Bone? The
Mate, I haven't seen the first
or
season of The Walking Dead
or
for
T-Dog.
so long.
He's the black dude. So he's left on the roof. He's handcuffed to the roof by Merle, and then he is then in charge of the town later on. And in
With
this
the
one,
governors? Well, the governor's town?
yep. And in my one, the governor joins your team.
Nice. I always liked the governor. Anyway,
yes.
but that's not what we're talking about, thank God. We are talking about the 2013 first-person shooter, The Walking Dead Survival Instinct. By Activision, rarely a good sign. Published by Activision. Notably, this does have the intro for the show as part of the game, and it also has Norman Reedus and Michael Rooker reprising their roles as the Dixon brothers, Daryl and Merle.
Daryl and Merle, yeah.
Who you know where Daryl and Merle don't show up?
What in the show?
You know, they're not in the comics that it's based on. They were created entirely for the show.
Oh, fair
The most popular character, Daryl Dixon, was created exclusively for the show.
Well, I'm glad he's because he's a great character. So yeah, so the game actually starts like as the outbreak of the zombie apocalypse is happening.
We're playing.
I think we're playing as Daryl, aren't we?
No, we're playing as his father.
Oh yeah, and then we're playing as his father. And
we're just on a hunting trip. We're hunting a deer.
Yep.
And we never actually get the deer because zombies attack, and we shoot some zombies, but then we get brought down, and then we see from Mr. Dixon's eyes, Daryl's uncle's like, "Hey, you got to shoot your dad," and Daryl's like, "I can't shoot my dad," so Daryl's uncle shoots us instead, and then we get the opening.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is this game could have been so much more if they had maybe, maybe gone their own way a little bit. I don't know. I mean, the backstory is interesting that they explored it. I like the fact that the characters are reprised by the actors who played them. That was really cool. And then I think you go back to like the cabin, don't you? And then you have to escape from the zombies in the car.
The thing with this game is this is very similar to Land of the Dead, Road to Fiddler's Green, which we talked about last year. It's a very similar game. This feels less polished and clunkier than the game from 2007.
And it also doesn't look very great either.
No.
The zombies look awful in this game.
Well, no, they look fine. The zombies do look fine. What gets awful is that at one point you will have to stab in the head, do that like head stab thing, on like 15 identical zombies.
Yep. They just.
I guess this is fucking Camino, where the zombie apocalypse is taking place. We're fighting the clone army of the Republic, but there's zombies.
that's actually a pretty interesting idea. A zombie apocalypse in Star Wars universe.
It's happened. It's I think it was the Dark Side was behind it.
Ah, fair enough.
There's Sith ghosts reanimated. It was a whole thing. I think it was the Geonosian. It was on Geonosis in the Clone Wars cartoon, I think.
Yeah, I haven't watched the Clone Wars cartoon.
So you're in the cat. You have to get a bunch. You got to get some gas and gas up the truck and go.
So,
You have
I was going to say,
a gun and a knife, like a bad rifle and a knife.
yeah, and the other thing as well that also is depending on how much fuel you get, is how far you can travel, and on what route you take depends on how much fuel you consume. So if you choose a back road that takes longer, there might be a much more amount of stops. If you choose the highway, there'll be less stops, but it's more dangerous.
Danger. Yeah.
So
I will say, and this is going to be a little controversial potentially, even though I don't think anyone still gives a shit about this game. This would be this game. What pushes the needle on this game from decent, mediocre to bad is this mechanic of the constant detours and the constant we got to stop here and find gas or all this and the stuff with the survivors. You'd have a halfway decent zombie first-person shooter if we could just go from level to level to level without this fucking shit, without this nonsense.
yeah, no, I agree with that.
I know what it's going for. It's going like trying to feel like a survival game, like Sons of the Forest or something. It's just tedious.
Yeah,
it's only tedious.
After a while, it does get very repetitive, and also some of the places you stop at, like
if you could drive the car, that would be something. But you
don't like driving in games.
I know, and that's that you have to bear that in mind when I say at least that would be some idea. This is just fast travel with extra steps.
And most of the places you stop at are the same town repeated over and over, just maybe like a reverse layout.
Or the same ranger station or any of this.
So you'll stop at a ranger station. Instead of coming in from like a road, you might come in from the forest. So it's just the same locations, just flipped. So they copy and paste a lot of the time in this game.
So the first place you go is this town, small town, where you got to get gas, but it's locked up. So you got to get the key to the gas, which is in a trailer park, which does lead to one of, in my opinion, the best scenes in the game.
I don't remember the scene.
There's the dead guy with the cowboy hat, and you steal the key to the gas pump from him. But he falls in such a way as to activate a car horn, and then every fucking trailer opens and zombies pour out.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Actually reminds me of a scene from the Train to Busan sequel. Yeah. By the way, Train to Busan, the second Train to Busan, Peninsula, do not recommend.
No, it's not set on a train.
No. And they took the interesting part out.
Yeah, and what's even more annoying is that they are remaking the film in an American way, and it's called Last Train to New York, or whatever the American title's called. I'm going to watch it because I'm curious to see what they do with it and how they approach it. But
I mean, they made their own interesting things with, like, as much as I prefer the Japanese Ringu, the ring isn't bad, but
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to the way they're going to approach this Train to Busan, I mean, the first Train to Busan was brilliant. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. It is
It
one.
changed. It changed my mind on Fast Zombies.
Yeah, I mean, obviously
That
there's.
movie convinced me that it's possible to have a good movie with Fast Zombies.
Well, the problem is with it is the fact that obviously it's a South Korean film. It's not
Well, you
high.
can just say Korean. It's impossible that we'd get a North Korean film.
Yeah, well, okay.
North Korean films tend to be just about how strong Kim Jong Un is and how big his cock is. That's all those movies are about. It's
But on a low budget Korean film, they do really good things. So obviously there's a scene where all the zombies are attaching to the train that's going off on the track.
hmm.
Now the first few 50 or so you can see are extras, but then you obviously know that there are dummies underneath all these extras, so you can clearly see that. Another scene is when they get to the actual um, uh, train station and they go down the escalator and it's all deserted. There's no army, no nothing, and the father is agreed to go off on his own to get evacuated separately. And then you just come down and you just see this one zombie turn around. He roars, and the whole lot then chase up all the survivors. Most of them die, and they're holding back these doors as
there's
well. That's a really good
there's a
scene.
moment in Peninsula though that the character does something so unfathomably stupid that it's impossible to want to see him make it. Is he's investigating a car, like inside a van, and he hits the horn. He leans on the horn accidentally. And then all the zombies come out, and most grievously of all, he doesn't die.
And
He
then,
gets all the other ones killed, but he makes it. Fuck off. If he's gonna be stupid, at least kill him off.
Well, yeah, I mean, Palencia is. I like the fact you've got the girl in the Jeep with like the lights and
Mm.
all that kind of stuff. The protagonist is pretty cool. The way he dies is actually really cool as well. So like as they're being chased through the city, he goes past one of these buildings that's been like it's collapsed, and behind the glass you see the zombies, and they're not because they're not going through the glass. This was shown in the first film where when they were at the glass they couldn't open the door, so they weren't. If you're not moving or making noise, they won't notice you. So that's why the wife that's pregnant puts newspaper over the door, because then they hold back the door and he's like, no, leave the door, and they come away from it, and the zombies don't open it because they don't know how to open it. So they're fast zombies, but they're not smart fast zombies. Where a lot of the time, they are smart. They will well, I suppose they are quite smart because they burst through a door in the train station. But that scene really showed that then in the second film they have a similar kind of concept where they're going past this big building and he gets the machine gun, he shoots the glass, and the zombies all pour out and destroy the jeep that's got the antagonist and his crew in it, and they get overwhelmed and killed because
Anyway,
they run out of ammo.
Walking Dead Survival Instinct. Um, so you get the key to the gas pumps. At some point, you investigate a convenience store for supplies. You go to the police station to get some guns. Various side missions come up. You can rescue survivors, but I don't think I rescued a single one.
I did rescue a few, I think. Not many, but
Yeah, I didn't send some survivors on missions. I didn't take survivors with me. I just fuck them. I don't need them.
fair enough.
Because if you have a group in a zombie movie, they do three things. There are only three things that your partner will do in a zombie situation, going by movies and TV. One, they'll be generally competent, but then they'll get bitten and then you'll have to shoot them. Two, they'll fucking betray you the first chance they get. Or three, they're going to be an incompetent asshole and alert all the zombies. This is what other people do in the zombie apocalypse.
I can't disagree with that one.
Like, even going back to some of my favorite, like the original Dawn of the Dead, Ken Foria's out there. He's doing his thing. Then the other guy he's with is like, he cowboys out and gets fucking bitten because he's not paying attention.
So I'm just looking at a guide to see like the first area, and there's like going through town, optional police station. You can get the rifle as well. You can get like the bolt action rifle.
Get a hammer, I remember.
You get a hammer as well. Keys for the gas. Yeah.
Now this isn't like you have to be very specific on what weapons you take with you, because you can't hold everything, unfortunately, and some weapons have durability, and you always have the knife. You always have the knife, even if you don't have the knife.
Yeah, I like the fact that you can't take loads of weapons. It adds to the fact that there is that scavenging that you have to do to kind of add to the also like the tenseness of the situation. So you do have to scavenge a little bit. You will have to put yourself in danger a little bit in order to get supplies that you need. So you can either not get supplies and just run the risk of just having the knife, which is probably the worst thing you can do, because there's very few games.
Important information about the knife. The knife is used when you quick kill a zombie, which is a terrible mechanic where you have to line up the cursor, which is, I can't imagine doing this with a fucking controller. You have to line up the cursor on the zombie and then hit the button. It's basically a quick time event. It sucks. Stab them in the head. And you could sometimes be doing this on a conga line of zombies, which like, not a situation you want to be in.
One after the other.
But disappointingly, in my opinion, they only have this scene for the knife. But it's not one of those things like, if you don't bring the knife, you can't do this. You always have the knife, even if you don't have the knife.
Yeah, that's weird. I'll be honest, that is a bit weird.
I think it would have been an interesting trade-off. Is that you have the knife. It's basically useless for combat unless unless there's just one zombie. It's a useless weapon. But it would have made sense, like a balancing. Like, if you don't have the knife taking up a slot, you can't do the quick kill. Would have been an interesting trade-off. But
I mean, there is.
Or maybe you could get like a screwdriver, but you can use that for one quick kill, like a shiv in The Last of Us or something. I'm seeing things that could have made this game more interesting.
Yeah,
that they just didn't do.
There are very few games where the knife is a useful weapon. So
Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Yes, but the other game where, out of all the Resident Evils, the best knife out of the whole series is probably Code Veronica, because when you swing that knife, you can hit multiple times and hit multiple zombies more than once. So if you swing at one zombie, let's just say, you'll probably get 2 hits. So it will make a slashing sound, but it will do it twice. It's by far one of the best weapons. The worst weapon in that series is probably the RE1 knife. RE2 is alright, RE3 is okay. Mods do make them better, they might speed them up a little bit. I have seen some knife runs where, especially on 2, where you have to fight Birkin at the end. Yeah, I would do that. Someone probably is now going to challenge me to do that, but I'm terrified of doing it.
The thing with the knife, though, like, in my opinion, the best knife in Resident Evil is in 7. But it's because it's not knife. Just yes, but it's not its usefulness as a weapon. It's because it's also a utility. It's a puzzle solving thing.
Yeah.
Like, to open you need the knife. Like that. If it's not going to be like not a great weapon, but you need it to do X as well, which could have been a use for it in this game, I think.
Yeah, so you can open crates with it. You can like break the little collectible thing you can get where it unlocks something at the end. So it's useful for that. Yeah, you're right.
But then again, I still find it hilarious that you have the knife even if you don't have the knife.
Yeah, that I actually forgot about that. I think.
I think another thing that could have made this game better is if you upgrade your knife at certain points.
Yeah,
Like, because you have
like
this, like, if you
change the
upgrade,
blade or
like, your
change the
hunting.
hilt.
Why? I just mean like find a new knife. Like you're using like a hunting knife, and then you find like a military knife at some point. Like in one of the Evil Dead games, in a lot of the Evil Dead games actually, Ash will upgrade his chainsaw hand. That's not you. You don't just you just get a new chainsaw hand that's better. I think
Oh
something like
yeah,
that could have
actually,
worked too.
now you say that, you remind me of another game where you can actually upgrade weapons that we actually are doing this year. I believe.
Yes,
A certain
I
second game that
suppose.
I'm struggling to play right now.
Ah, yes.
But the first one, but I can't remember if we've done the first one or not yet. I can't remember if we have or not.
We've done the first. We did the first one last year.
Okay, so so in
Yeah,
that,
Nightmare Creature.
Nightmare Creatures. I couldn't remember if we were doing that this year or we already done it or what. Um,
Wait,
and
didn't you find none of the weapon upgrades in Nightmare
no,
Creatures?
I did, but I had to look up a guide. But I've
Fair
played
enough.
through that game on my own when I first played it years ago without realizing you could upgrade weapons. I never knew you could upgrade the weapons. I had to look
So
at.
the next place where'd you go after you're done with the town? After you leave this town?
We go to.
Because I remember levels, but I don't remember the order of the levels.
I've got here on IGN Garwater or Gar Water, one word. Um, it looks like a campsite.
Yeah, I do remember. Yes, you go to a campsite. Um,
Oh yeah, you talk to a police officer who has a double-barreled shotgun.
yeah, disappointing. Like really disappointing part of this game, in my opinion. You're you're Daryl Dixon, right?
Yeah,
In this game, you are Daryl. What do you not get for the longest time in this game?
the crossbow.
Exactly.
Well, there has to be maybe an origin story. You can't just say that, Daryl had it from the start. So there has to be some
Well, no,
kind
it
of like,
was his from the start. Just Merle fucking hid it in a hotel room. I don't understand. With your vest, I care less about the vest because it's a first-person shooter. It's silly, silly game.
so you go to a ranger station as well, and
Yep.
then the next place is a place called it's Plemberton, and that might be where you then get, that's where you get the crossbow. Um,
Nope. There's something between those two places.
that's what I've got. The next thing after.
I guess maybe I did mine in another order because you can do air. You could at a certain point you can do main levels in whatever in different orders.
Yeah, might be a different order
But
then.
I didn't get. I would have been a lot happier if I had gone to the place where I could get the crossbow, but before doing the next bit.
Yeah, so on
Um,
here we've got the Pemberton, which is where you see a poster of a wanted I don't know why that's
for,
there.
for Merle.
It's a collectible. No, it's of a woman. And
Ah.
then there's a gas station.
The collectibles are random as fuck in this game, by the way.
I don't think I ever got any.
There are wanted posters, and there are stuffed squirrels.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. Yeah.
It's it's a weird ass game,
So
and it's not like like for example, there's a game called Deadly Premonition where there's this whole bit where there's like different squirrel keys. But the thing is, Deadly Premonition's a fucking comedy.
I've not played Deadly Premonition.
It's a ride. It's despite the game maker's um, aggressive denial, it is based on Twin Peaks. He claims he's never even seen the show, but he is lying.
Wouldn't be the first time a game developer has lied, would it?
I mean, one of your favorites does it all the time, and we never believe him because it's just expected.
What? Which favorite?
Kojima.
Oh, yeah. Well, I
With
don't.
all due respect to the man, he does lie all the time, and it's always transparent.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Kojima is that
I forgive it for Kojima for one main reason. I don't see any malice in his lying.
no, it's never malice because that I've for those who don't know, I haven't really. I think I've mentioned it before, but I've met Kojima. I've had a picture with Kojima, um, and I can say he is one of the nicest people you will ever meet in the gaming world. To meet my idol, someone who I idolize in the gaming world, was a dream come true. And I thought I would never, I wanted to go down, and someone who I won't mention went down with me because they were like, well, no one else will go with you, so I'll go with you. 6 hours in a queue, and I got less than 5 minutes with the man. I am fine with that. I got a picture with him and the art designer for some of the art for Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid, some of the best art you'll see hand drawn. And I just remember going up to him and he was just like, "Hello, nice to meet you." I just, I couldn't
Why is he
even.
Swedish?
I don't know. I don't know. That I was trying to do an accent and it failed miserably. No offense intended, but he was just like, "Hello, nice to meet you." But I couldn't even look at him in the eyes. I was looking at the floor. I regret that since ever since 2018. I should have looked that man in the eyes. What I did give him was a letter telling him how much I appreciated him, even though people were like, "Well, you gave him a love letter." I was like, "No, it's a letter of appreciation." He may not understand the full letter because someone else will read it to him, more than likely. But yeah, but he is an amazing man. If you ever get a chance to meet him and he's in your neck of the woods, even if you have to wait for 6 hours, go and meet him. You will not regret it. So, I mean, obviously, he's directed one of my favorite game series of all time, even though the company who he worked for treated him like utter crap. And I'm so glad he got out.
To quote Stephanie Sterling, hashtag Fukonami because Konami is Konami and Konami is the worst.
Yep. But I think the thing about it was about the fact that they he wanted a change. He wanted a change in games. But Metal Gear 4 was only made because there was like a letter in the guide of Metal Gear 4, and it was from
I'm very
Kojima.
sorry, but to get us back on track,
Sorry,
even
yeah,
though I got us off track. Sorry about getting us off track, by the way.
that's fine.
Like there's a lot of levels in this game that are just towns
Yeah,
and very little. Like I about like what was Pemberton, the town.
yes,
The thing about Pemberton is I remember one thing about like I remember a lot of shit about that first town. Pemberton, I remember there's red brick and you get the crossbow. That is all I remember about that town.
yeah. All these sections that I'll follow the walkthrough are not even a full page. They're like one, two, three, four, five paragraphs.
Like it took me about five, six, I think 8 hours to do. I think without all the detours and the breakdowns, this game.
You're cutting in and out.
There's not a lot in this.
Yeah, I lost you for a few seconds there.
All right. So this town, the only thing interesting in this town is a crossbow. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and then after that is Fontanda, Font, Fonta, Font ANA. I'm not very good at spelling.
The name is utterly meaningless. What is this place? Is it the hospital?
No, it's another town.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
You look
But
like you're in like where there's a big massive like rig lorry. You get like the revolver. It looks like it's got a diner nearby.
like there are a lot of towns that are just unmemorable. I know there's a town with a rail yard.
Yes, that's near the end, I believe. That's not far from the end.
And then there's the
Optional,
hospital.
yeah, and also a theatre as well.
I didn't go to the theater. I did go to the hospital. And you do the usual evil scientist who's experimenting on zombies thing, and you kill her. I think there's a don't dead open inside door because of course there's a don't dead open inside door. Yeah, I know it says don't open dead inside, but the way it's phrased, it's don't dead open inside.
And then we're in Selburn.
It's the difference between where proper spacing is the difference between massage therapist and massage the rapist.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm
It's
on now the.
also where a comma is the difference between zombies eat people and zombies eat people. It's either a statement of fact or a command you give to your undead hordes.
Fair point.
Grammar is important.
Well,
With proper grammar, you can command the undead.
in the Selburn one, you go to that's where you go to the hospital. That's what I've got here anyway.
This is around the time where important. Your uncle dies. He turns, and you have to kill him.
Yeah, I think I've. Oh yeah, because he's with you for quite a while, isn't he? So.
The hospital does this thing. You eventually team up with Merle and go do stuff with Merle.
And then you get to I've got Oakville here or Oakview.
And that's with the rail yard?
It's a sawmill, I think. Sawmill?
The problem with this game is there are no big action set pieces, there are no bosses, and there's no big climactic things that happen in the plot.
Yeah.
Because this is just a prequel to the show. There's not really much here to talk about.
No, so this Oakville is where you go to like the sawmill. That's the sawmill. There's the camp and then there's the sawmill. And then we've got
you can get an axe in this. You can obviously get an axe in the sawmill. Very good melee weapon, by the way.
Yeah, so in the next place I've got here is Taggart, which is the drive-in. And then there's the house. So obviously the and then Lemon Hill is after that. So these are very.
It's a little suburb area.
Yeah. So you go through a few of these. So you do go through a generic same place all the time. You can go inside the houses. There's an apartment building. You go, oh yeah, this is the one where I think you get.
You can go into a few houses, I think.
Yeah, you get to a search for fireworks. It's where you have to distract the horde, and you have to get the fireworks to make them get away from the main road, I think. And then you get the fire axe. You find the fireworks. You go through the cemetery, through the church, and then next stop is Barksdale. Which is another like small town. I can hear a lorry reversing your end.
Yeah, I can hear it too.
I just thought I'd mention it because people probably will be able to hear it.
There's not a lot memorable that happens in this game, unfortunately. As I said, no bosses, no big climactic scenes, no memorable set pieces.
Yeah, it's all these areas are very short in the guide here. There's not a lot, and then there's left titty Lafferty.
Lafferty.
Yeah, I can't. But yeah, Left City. That's going to get some comments. You got to go through store 1, store 2, like through like past like there's all the zombies in like the clothing store, etc. You have to go around the back, pick up the different weapons, and then you go to Archer Creek, is what I've got here. Another camping area, archery company, and then uh, uh, Polksville, Polksville. Oh, these names of towns, man.
That's Atlanta for it. That's fucking Georgia for you.
Yeah, I mean, just like. And then you go to Danvers. It's another garage and stairs, labs. Very short. This bit's hardly anything. And then you go to Sherwood, which I probably think is that's the suburbs. Where you have like survive. I think you have to survive. You're on the Palmento Estates. So another kind of generic bit, same kind of idea. And then you go back to the estates.
The only truly memorable bits of this game are in the hospital, because if you can't make a memorable scene in a hospital in a horror game, you have failed. And in the first town. Those are the only memorable bits of the game. This is not a memorable game. There's a reason people don't talk about it.
I remember because you get like a choice in the hospital, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And then
it's
you go
kill the evil doctor or don't kill the evil doctor. I killed the evil doctor.
I don't even remember how you do it. So if you shoot him or not. So. And then last but not least is the Firesign Stadium.
Is your average sports stadium. It's raining. Yeah. I remember it's raining and it's night.
Yeah, and you also go through like the train yard as well. You have to get through that bit first.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is the stadium where they're all telling you to go because it's safe, and of course, when you get there, it's been overrun. It's
full of
quiet. Zombies. Typical zombie game. Nothing simple. And then you go to the football stadium, and then at the end when you get like a turret on like a military vehicle, and you have to mow down like a whole crowd of zombies. And then to end the game, you get on the helicopter. Merle shoots the two people in the helicopter, and you ask why, and he goes, "Well, they're going to turn eventually. They've been bitten, blah blah blah," and you fly off, and that's the end.
And then somehow you two end up with Shane's crew to start the Walking Dead TV show,
which is not explained about how they reached that survivor group or what.
That would have been a better final mission. Is meeting and reaching and meeting the rest of the group.
Yeah, I suppose that's
something at least.
It's down to your imagination, isn't it?
I refuse to use my imagination if they refuse to use their imagination making this game.
Fair enough. That's a fair enough response. So overall, I mean, this game could be so much more. I mean, when I saw this game, I think years ago, and I saw, I always knew about The Walking Dead. A little fun fact: when the first season of the Telltale Walking Dead came out, and I played that first episode, I was so unbelievably hooked on that episode that I was waiting with bait. I bought every day a new episode came out. I bought it, I played it in one day, and I completed it. And every episode I adored. I think I played through a few of them more than once to get different choices and different endings. I wanted Larry to like me, but he never does.
Never will.
Yeah.
You know what my favorite thing I did in the entire game is?
Drop the slab on Larry's head.
I fucking hate Larry.
Yeah, and
question: Did you kill Duck?
Can't remember my first time.
I shot Duck. so Kenny didn't have to.
Because
Kenny's my favorite character in The Walking Dead.
Because if you don't, it's the mum that shoots herself and Duck, isn't it?
Oh, she shoots herself anyway.
Yeah, because she can't bear the thought of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then but that's when Kenny's whole character changes.
Yeah.
And
But yeah, this game, there are seeds of a good game, but frankly, it's just a longer, less interesting Road to Fiddler's Green.
I think as well, I would agree with that, but I think also it comes down to the fact that it's a great idea. The execution of the idea was done badly.
Hmm.
So the way they wanted to go, I think, was a great, like, how they wanted to do it was well thought out, but the execution of it was poorly done.
I would have made one major change, which I think would have made the game a lot better. And this is going to sound weird, but no Daryl and no Merle. Get rid of them.
What do you mean? Just have
generic, make your own characters, because the way it is now, it is a prequel, and nothing of any actual interest or import can happen that would make the show not happen. Because it has to lead into the show has to happen, so nothing that mind-blowing can occur yet. Because this is still early days of the outbreak. I would have had it just be kind of like the Telltale games were. Entirely different group of characters, same apocalypse. Maybe someone shows up from the main cast, maybe not, who cares? But not as the playable character. The playable character should be someone completely new.
Well, fun fact, Glenn, who I didn't realize until I think a few years ago, is actually the same Glenn in the show.
Yeah, Glenn and Herschel. Glenn and Herschel are the same Glenn and Herschel.
Is that the same Herschel? Is it?
That's the same yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same Paul Jesus Monroe in season 3 as well.
Because that Herschel is not the same one in season 2. Is it season 2 they see him?
They see him in season 1, episode 1.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
No. I mean, in the show, it's the same. Like, it's season 2. They see him on the farm, isn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that's because he's so different in the game than to the.
Well, in the game, it's based on the art style of the comics.
And I suppose he's younger as well a little bit, isn't he? He's like
a year younger, I guess,
but more reversing.
Yep, I can't do anything about them.
Warning: vehicle reversing. Sorry, I couldn't resist to say that.
There were elements of a good game here, but it didn't go. It felt, and it probably was, so fair enough. But the main adjective I can use to describe this one was rushed. This game felt rushed. Like they had a deadline, and they did what they could to meet it.
I also think as well, like what you just said about the deadline, they rushed it out, was the fact that a lot of the places would just copy and paste. So that screams at you that it was a rush game. I mean, it's Activision. I mean, they wanted you. Activision haven't done always bad things. I mean, with what was it? It was Vanguard, Call of Duty Vanguard, and Sledgehammer Games was doing so badly with that game that Activision had to step in and go, right, you guys are not doing well with this. We're going to bring in Treyarch and Infinity Ward and 5 other developers to help you finish. That's not good. That's not good for a developer.
The thing with this one, though, and it didn't.
It's tough, isn't it?
It's. I only remember 3 levels. I remember I remember the prologue. I will grant it. The prologue, where you're the dad, and that's done really well. That could have been in a good game. I remember the first town. I remember the hospital. That is all I remember. This game left so little impact on my mind.
I think it's also a shame the fact it did that, because with the fact of the game itself, it could have been so much more. And given the fact that they've tried to replicate like a Walking Dead game since, like with Destinies and with there's another
The
one as
VR
well.
one, the Saints and Sinners, the VR one apparently is really good.
I've heard about the Satan Sinners one, but that was delayed, wasn't it, for a little while?
Oh,
Um,
it's out now.
yeah, but I have heard. I mean, I suppose it's like custom. You make your own character and stuff. And Destinies isn't bad. I mean, it shows like different avenues you can take
The
from the main
problem,
story.
the problem with Destinies, aside from that, is it was not the time to release a Walking Dead game. As bad as this was, at least 2013 was during the height of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, what are they on now? Like season 11?
And no one's watching it. No one is watching anymore.
For
Okay, very few people. It's not the worldwide phenomenon it used to be. It's
for
not popular anymore.
for me, the my favorite my favorite season was the one in the prison. That was the peak
Hmm.
where it was.
The the most the shocking thing for me is the season. Like, I watched up to it till the fucking whisperers came in. Um, the show was fucking floundering for several seasons when they got to that town there, and then a certain man came in and saved the entire show with his sheer charisma,
Oh,
and that's Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
you mean
We
the
are
town,
Negan.
the town where they are cut off from the outside world and have no idea what's going on,
Yes,
and they send out that guy who recruits people.
and then we get Negan.
Yeah, I watched up until that
Negan was the
season, and it's
shot in the arm that show needed.
I
But it
watched
wasn't fair because Jeffrey Dean Morgan was supporting the entire goddamn show at that point.
I watched up until that season, um, and it was after, I think it was up until Rick had that fight and he beat up the husband of the
Mm.
woman who got abused, and that's where I think I stopped. And then they were deciding whether or not to kick Rick out or not. That's what I
Yeah,
saw. And
Negan comes in after that.
yeah, I I thought Rick was a great character. I liked how when he lost his wife, that he kind of like went into this really.
I also liked I cheered when Lori died. I hated Lori so much.
Yeah, and I liked how
Worst
they.
character in the show. Worst character in the show.
Yeah, I liked, like, some of the character development was really good. Like Carl, the son's development was really
Carl.
good. Yeah, Carl, like from
I
like
was annoyed that they killed Carl the second he became an interesting character.
I heard that Carl died, but I know he gets like shot or
He was
something.
bitten. Yeah, we know he's bitten, and he's
Ah,
going down a checklist of everything he needs to do.
yeah, I
But
didn't
he
want
dies as soon as he becomes interesting. Glenn dies. Abraham. Everyone dies. Everyone interesting dies,
because Glenn was
except
with
for
Maggie.
Rick.
Glenn was with Maggie, wasn't he? Wasn't
Yeah,
she?
Rick never dies because Rick's not interesting.
Yeah, but didn't Rick leave the show for quite a while?
He did until Negan came around.
And also,
But the problem with Rick is the main character. Undeniably, he is the protagonist. But he's supposed to be like the everyman character. He's the audience surrogate character, which is done best in season 1, where he wakes up months into the zombie apocalypse in the hospital. That very well done, that bit.
yeah,
But the problem is
that's in
he's
Destinies,
supposed
where you
to.
have to escape from the hospital, and it's
Yes.
interesting to see how he escaped
Hmm.
in game form, and it kind of added to that kind of like, you know, way the fact that he woke up, you see like the thing outside the door, which what's his name puts across to protect him, his partner, who then is with Laurie, who
Shane,
yeah, and
the Punisher.
in Destinies,
You know he's the Punisher, right?
is he?
That actor, yeah, Jay Bernthal. He's the John Bernthal. He's the Punisher
What, the TV
in
show?
in the Netflix series and in the upcoming Daredevil, Born Again.
Oh,
He's
cool.
the Punisher. Hell, the show is full of Marvel actors. Michonne is one of the. She's in Black Panther. She's Okoye. Merle is Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's the blue guy with the fin on his head who whistles and kills people with the arrow. Yeah,
Oh,
that's Merle.
I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy, not properly anyway.
It's fantastic. You should watch both of them.
Isn't there?
Yeah, there's a third one now.
Yeah, with Thor.
You
in
can
it,
skip the third.
I think.
No, that's the Thor movie with the Guardians of the Galaxy in it.
Yeah, but I didn't realize that he was Punisher. But no, in Destinies, you can actually have that where you kill Rick at that point, and Shane survives, and what differences might come up. I mean, it probably will go out the same way, pretty much. But that kind of like, when I saw that on the trailer, that kind of interested me a little bit. I was like, you know what? I kind of like where that might go and what you might be able to do with that. So I
You
was
know what
interested.
got me to stop watching The Walking Dead?
What?
I watched an episode, and no zombies showed up.
Really?
That was the moment for me, like, huh. This is just character shit this entire time.
Because Maggie's still in it, isn't she?
Yeah, Maggie's still there, I think. Michonne's still around. Daryl's still around.
Because Daryl and Rick become they're really like good friends, aren't they? They like.
Oh no, not anymore. Well, Rick's dead-ish, but they're on different sides.
Oh,
Do you mind some spoilers?
I don't mind.
He beats Negan, and Paul, Jesus Monroe, Maggie, and Daryl are like, okay, cool, kill Negan. And Rick's like, no, killing is wrong. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're in the zombie apocalypse. It's like, no, killing is wrong. We're going to lock Negan up in a cage and keep him there forever. Like, you're fucking stupid. And then there's the split.
Oh.
Rick honestly goes, killing is wrong. It's like, are you serious? It's Negan.
Isn't he the one that is responsible for like Carl getting bit and stuff like that or something?
No.
Oh, fair enough.
Negan is the one who kills Glenn, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, telling Maggie, no, it's fine, we'll keep him alive. Probably the wrong move.
Yeah, because Maggie turns into a badass, doesn't she? So.
Yeah, quite early on.
Yeah, like I liked I did like Maggie, but so favorite section of the game.
That's a hard question. I barely remember any of it. I guess the hospital.
I would say do you know what? Thinking about it properly, I think the bit that had the most tension for me was the stadium at the end.
Actually, not the hospital, the first town, because there's the most to do in the first town.
True.
And there's that memorable scene with the trailers all opening. Yeah, the first town is my favorite.
Yeah, I would say probably the stadium for me because it's tense. Like you have to creep through. It's like you go to this place where you think it's safe and yet it's been overrun. Everyone's dead. It's not safe. Like always. Those of you who expect a place like
the thing is, you don't think it's going to be safe because clearly anyone who's going to be picking up the Walking Dead game has watched The Walking Dead, and they know that we don't meet Merle and Dixon in a stadium. So clearly something happened.
True.
Merle and Daryl.
Yeah, Merle and Daryl. And then I don't worst part of the game. I don't know. Probably. I just think sort of like they copy and paste.
I
Like,
can't think of any exact level. For me, it's just the constant breakdowns, out of fuel, this, that, fucking padding that the game had. The constant fucking busy work errands when you're just trying to get to the next story location.
I think they filled it with too much filling and not enough, substance to sort of like make it sort of, for lack of the better word, uh, spread out evenly where it was like a better presented solution.
It's a very big but very bland Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a good description. I agree with that. Yeah, no, I actually agree with that.
Or like when you get like a calzone or a pasty, and it's very big, but there's not enough filling for the size of the pasty.
Yep.
Or to quote Bilbo Baggins, like butter that's been scraped over too much bread.
So, rating out of 10?
For sheer unmemorability, 4.
I would say like it's not a game that I mean, I probably will revisit it in the future, but
I
won't.
won't. It's too tedious for that for me. There's too much tedious busy work to revisit it for me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I may revisit
Like
it. I don't know.
compare like it's unavoidable to compare this to Land of the Dead because it's also a zombie first person shooter based on a property. I have gone back and played Land of the Dead for fun. I have not done that for Walking.
Yeah, no, I would have, agree with that. Actually, those two little mods that I think I told you about ages ago, which I now can't remember what they're called, but there's like one where like you play like four different characters, a student in like a student hall, a janitor for like a university, the same university, and like a police officer and I think someone else as well, and they all intertwine with each other, but they're all like, you go through a location after the other character has gone through, and the zombies are there when before they weren't. So that game actually was fun, and you probably could play it more than once to get a better idea of what it's like. Um, there is a mod for Land of the Dead, which changes it into a much more grittier, darker game.
There's
Um,
also things I just realized something that could have made this game at least more fun to play.
what?
Have Merle the entire time. And have him be playable by a player too.
Yeah, I think
How
you're
much
right.
more interesting would this game be if it was
Oh, it would have been a lot more fun if it was co-op. Even if it was an AI character, I think it would have been a lot
I
more.
maybe that might be a problem because I'm thinking of strategies and you'd have to implement a way to like give commands to the
Well,
other character.
I suppose it could be the fact that if you're going to do it AI like that, you go through as your main character and then you have to switch to the AI and go through, the route. But maybe the route is more invested with
Well, I'm just thinking
zombies.
like give command like a commando or something. Because I'm
Yeah,
thinking of a very good. I was like, all right, we need to get into this building, right?
yeah.
You go on that truck and make a fucking spectacle of yourself to attract all the zombies. While I go in here, clean out anyone who's not going out to be distracted, and get the thing we need. Like there are ways to make this game interesting that they just didn't do.
Yeah, I
So many
don't.
ways to make this more
Yeah,
interesting.
there is a lot of ways they could have done it, but they didn't implement it right. I think for me, I don't think it's higher than a 5. I think 5 is generous.
And the fact that this came out either around the same time or after the Telltale one. Yeah, this is a year after the Telltale.
Well, yeah, this had big shoes to fill, and it didn't do a good job.
No, it did not do a good job. I actually no. Have I played worse games based on TV shows?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think I have. Fuck. All right.
It says here, it came out on 19th of March 2013.
And the Telltale one came out in 2012. So
Yeah, so I mean, like I said,
before we put this one to bed, I do have to gonna ask you what your first experience with The Walking Dead was.
My first experience was, I think it was the game. I don't think I'd seen the show, um, and because I wasn't really interested. But I played the first episode of the Telltale games, and I was hooked from that moment. I played that game with the choices and with Lee, and Lee being arguably one of the best characters in gaming
Hmm.
in general. Like, he is one of the best characters in gaming for me.
Yeah,
Along with
agreed.
Clementine, I love Clementine's journey throughout, because that whole entire series from season one to the final season isn't Lee's story; it's Clementine's story.
Clementine exists almost as a like the an opposite and an utter denouncement of Carl Grimes,
Carl.
Rick's kid, annoying kid,
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
show
yeah, yeah.
Coral,
Sorry, yeah, yeah.
because Clementine is proof that a child character does not have to be annoying, does not have to be pathetic. A child character it's actually possible to care about a child character.
Well, the thing is with Clementine is that she goes from being this really timid girl who goes into this zombie apocalypse and then has to adapt her life
Mm,
essentially, and she loses her parents, she loses her babysitter, and all she has is the company of strangers, and a stranger, a murderer, you could say, who takes her under his wing. And then,
mm.
for me, the bit that summarizes her character is when she has to shoot Lee or leave Lee in the final episode of season one of Walking Dead. That is
What
one of
did
the.
you do? What did you do?
I think I left him.
I shot him.
I don't think I could bring myself to shoot him. I believed I cried. The last time I played
I
this one,
I did cry, but I thought if I were in this situation, what would I rather have happen to me? Like
yeah,
I would rather kill a loved one than know that they're going to because this is going to get a little personal, guys. All right. My grandmother passed away a few years ago. It's been a while, but she was in the grips of very far gone dementia, and honestly, death it not for everyone, but I do feel that death is preferable than being imprisoned in a body you do not have complete control over, with your mind just deteriorating.
yeah. I mean, there are
The
some people who,
closest thing we have to an actual zombie infection is Alzheimer's,
yeah.
and if I was diagnosed, I honestly believe I would kill myself rather than go through that.
I think it's more the deterioration as well in dementia.
Mm.
Like, going from, like, my uncle has it, and an uncle that I never knew growing up because his partner didn't allow him to see his family. So he's never sent me a birthday card, he never sent me a Christmas card, never sent me a birthday present, or did anything on my side of the family, or even for any, not for my sisters as well. My mum, my dad didn't do anything, and it was his partner who prevented that. She was basically, he was quite well off. He was very well off. He was quite rich. He had a good amount of money, and she basically used him for that. Um, an example of that is when he went and bought himself a car and then drove it somewhere, forgot where he drove it, and then bought himself another car.
Yeah. Wow.
And his family had to get involved and basically tell him to stop. He doesn't like, he gets quite angry with people if they interrupt him. He remembers me, so he remembers like stuff like far in the past, but he doesn't remember like stuff that he might do like today. So he might click wash his clothes and then forget he washed his clothes and then go out and buy a whole load of more clothes. Thankfully now he's now in a secured home where he can't just leave on his own free will. He is now behind a locked door essentially. So it's more controlled. But it took quite a while to get him in there because our social care system over here is so bad that they, will leave people like that to fend for themselves. And if they have no family, then they're really in a bad place. Um, it doesn't upset me very much because I didn't know him. I think the other thing was my auntie Daphne who died. I don't mind mentioning her name, but she was very unwell, and I remember getting a card from her on my birthday, and it said, "I love you lot. See you soon." And then she died a month later. Um, and I never got a chance to go and see her. My mum wouldn't let me, and I was wondering that for a while, and I never understood why until she said to me, "I don't want you to remember who she is now. I want you to remember who she was,
Hmm.
not when she's unwell and ill." And
That-
I now appreciate why my mum did that, and it protected me because it gave me good memories and not bad memories.
yes.
And that was, probably one thing that maybe I should have had when I lost my grandma, who I saw in hospital. And then when we got home, she then passed away on the way, basically just after we got home. Um, my auntie definitely treated me more like a grandchild than a nephew. Um, I wasn't a grandchild. I was a nephew, but she treated me like I was a grandchild more than a nephew. So I was considered, much more. And it's been, 11 years since she passed, which is crazy to think about. But, she was unwell. Um, and then my auntie, and then my uncle then passed away a year after Auntie Daphne died. So I think it was because he was aware that Auntie Daphne had gone. Um, and I think that probably just like was one of the factors of why he then passed himself because it probably was the loss of that, the grief. Maybe he was unwell as well. So it was a sad point, but that I think with killing Lee and having to shoot him, when I did it with Phoenix on stream, I remember him being upset because it is probably one of the most powerful scenes you will ever see in gaming. It is regarded as one of the best scenes in gaming, and it just cemented for me Clementine's character, where at the end of the final season, it comes full circle where she is training AJ the same way as Lee coached her. But AJ was born during the apocalypse and wasn't born because Clementine was already alive before the apocalypse began. AJ was born during it, so all he knows is killing people and death and stuff like
Hmm.
that, and it all comes full circle for me.
We'll talk about the Telltale because I have some thoughts on the Telltale final season.
Yeah,
less than charitable thoughts.
the one thing I will say about that, just before we finish, is when Telltale went into liquidation in 2018, I was so upset that I thought they weren't going to finish the final season, and then
Hmm.
when Skybound, and thank you guys for doing it, because you jumped in and you finished that game. I'm so glad you did, because it gave us the ending that we all wanted. We all wanted that ending. Unfortunately, we're not going to get Wolf Among Us
Despite the
season
fact that
2.
the ending was a complete cheat.
Yeah, I think obviously they had to finish what they were given. They couldn't. There was not a lot they could do. Um, but from what it was worth, I think they ended it on the best way they could. Um,
Yeah, but they cheated, and I will not forget that.
oh no, yeah, it was definitely that. But I think the other thing as well is that you've got to remember is that they were finishing a game with the company that first made it had gone bust. So they were.
No, I'm saying the story for the ending, the way the ending happens, is a cheat. It
Oh
should
yeah.
not have a happy ending.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
doesn't make any sense with how the zombie plague works. But
No, I mean it is strange about how it happened with Clem and not with Lee. But
exactly.
yeah, I think I know that's what you mean. But yeah,
Anyway, Walking Dead Survival Instinct, a game so memorable. I think we talked more about the Telltale game while talking about it.
yeah, and other things as well, and Train to Busan and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So a game, if you want to experience it, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's up to you what you play.
it's honestly just play Land of the Dead, Road to Fiddler's Green instead. It's shorter, and you have the Kung Fu Fist. It's just objectively better.
Yeah, I mean some of the zombies in that game are a little bit, strange, but yeah,
All,
probably
but all the zombies in this one are strange, and they all look like the same person.
yeah, and I have to say that there are quite a few games that I've played recently where the character models are the same zombies. Um, Actually, it was Kingdom Come Deliverance that uses a lot of character models more than once, but
Yes,
oh,
but you know what Kingdom Come Deliverance has the amazing ability to do?
what?
Here's a full-headed helmet. Now you can't tell.
That's a good point. Or a hat.
That's one of the things that makes it really easy. All
No,
your enemies' designs look the same. Yeah, they're fucking stormtroopers.
no, it's a fair point. Anyway, thank you for watching and
Yeah,
or
thanks for
listening, guys.
watching. We'll see you next week for another one.
Yep.
And happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.